Now then guys, welcome back to the channel, hopefully you're all doing well. I was actually going to get out and do a bit of work, but it's absolutely started pouring it down, hailstones and everything, caught in a thunderstorm. Hopefully you can hear me. This week we've got a boiler swap. I've actually done a few boiler swaps this week, but I'm only going to include one, otherwise it'll just get boring. I actually go back to the system that I did the other week as well. I don't know what video it was, but the lads did a main flush on it and did a boiler, but I went back and set it all up, and some of the radiators weren't getting hot, so I put my magma cleanser on it and flushed all that through as well. So I'll spin the camera around and show you the weather. It is, yeah, it's not good, isn't it? Yeah, that's why I was actually just going to get out and empty the boiler out the back of the van that I've just done, but it is pouring now. I don't think I'll bother at the minute. So yeah, we'll get straight into the episode. Hopefully you enjoy it, and yeah, we'll see how we get on. Right, this morning's job, changing this old Ideal Classic. We're going to go top flue, drill a new hole, patch the wall up. Obviously we've just got a hose on there to drain down, we've got the cold feed off. Condense, it's having a new utility room, so we're going to take the tiles off, hide the condense, hide the gas. Gas is only 15mm to there, but the gas meter is just there, so I think it's 22 where it leaves the meter. It'll probably be okay, but we can test it. I've done these before down here and they've been absolutely fine. It's only a 16 kilowatt boiler going in, but obviously we need to test it to make sure we've got no more than 1 millibar drop and we've got adequate working pressure. Ideally, if it's 21 at the meter, we need 20 here, with other appliances running this on max. So yeah, we'll get drained down, get the flue hole out, boiler turning up in a minute. Then it'll just be a case of filter, flush, chemical flush, and then connect the pipes back through. So it should be a nice easy one, this one. Waste, that's a washing machine. We've got to get a bit of condense behind the tiles and into there. Take that fridge out if we need to, or we will need to. And yeah, I've got Harry with me doing his gas, so we'll get a tightness test done on the gas in a second. We'll just get it drained down and then we should be good. The first job, as always, before we do anything, we're going to get a tightness test on the gas, let by tightness. We're just checking for bonding, make sure it's sealed, seals on the regulator, on off tape, falls to off, bracketed, emergency contact numbers, all the usual stuff. So we'll do one before we start, and then again at the end. Well, I'm going to get Harry to do it. So yeah, we'll make sure that's zeroed, and then we'll do let by and tightness before we do anything. What I always do is obviously do my tightness test, but I'll just leave that while I'm getting drained down, getting the electrics disconnected, and then we'll just check that again in a minute. You can be doing other stuff, you don't have to sit there watching it. But yeah, this one's not dropping. You can normally tell straight away, but we just need to make sure there's no leaks again at the end when we are done. So on the top of these boilers, they're marked up primary return, or that's going to be the return, that's the flow. We just need to get the flue disconnected. I think we'll have room for the filter. If not, I'll have to go in the airing cupboard. It's just one of the Magna-Clean micros, but you always need to make sure you get your flow and return the right way around, otherwise you've got a bit of a problem on your hands. So yeah, that's draining nicely, flue disconnected, safely isolate the electrics, gas is on test. We should be good to get this off the wall. So just get this flue disconnected all the way through. That means we can get the boiler lifted off once it's drained. We'll get that one cut, and then we can get the thing lifted off. Obviously we've got a securing bolt at the back. I don't know if there's anything at the bottom on these, but we'll find out in a minute. So that is drained now, so Harry's just going to cut them off with a Milwaukee. I'll try not to get him, he don't want to be in the video. Just get the flow and return disconnected. That thing's a beast. Alright, it's probably trapped a little bit. Should be alright. That's the only thing with that, mate, just trapped. Right, that's the boiler off the wall. Obviously we've got flow and return, or return and flow, gas, which we're going to find behind the tile. We're going to take that tile off, renew that programmer, get the new flue hole out. We really need the boiler here. I'm not going to lie, it should be here in a minute, hopefully. And then, yeah, and obviously we'll plaster this up, make good the brickwork, that'll be job done. Right, I'm putting a Baxi 816 in. Inside the box you get your Magna-Clean, you get your instructions, you get your template, and obviously the boiler. Yeah, quite neat little units these really. And obviously your bracket. We need to put bracket on the wall. We're going top flue to the side on this, so we need to screw that on the top of the boiler. You get all your bits and bobs. So yeah, well, Harry will hang the boiler and I'll get the flue hole done. Yeah, that's the plan. So that's where the boiler's going to fit. I want it above the height of the tile, so they are going to put a cupboard over this. I'm going to try and line the return up, filter straight on there. Flow will have to come along the top of the flue and then into there. I'm going to get the flue hole marked out and Harry's going to get all the template and everything fixed on. So our flue will go just below that cove in, and it'll be there somewhere, but I'll do it from outside in. So the turret goes on the top of the boiler, so I need to measure from the back of the boiler to the centre of the turret, and that will give them the centre of the flue hole. So it's about 160, if you can see on there. So I'll get that cord out, and Harry's going to get the template on the wall. X marks the spot, so I'm just giving it a slight fall off the top of the template through. I'm going to pile it through there. It doesn't matter if I spelch the brick a little bit, because obviously we're coming back with a 4-inch core, and then, as I say, Harry's going to get all that set up. So I'll do this from outside to save the dust, and then we'll get all that wall filled in, and then we'll get the boiler on the wall. So I've got my proper core drill. I've not long had this actually, I don't know what make it is. It seems to do a pretty good job anyway. It wasn't mega money, and obviously I've got, of course, so I use that one just the boiler flues, so we'll wang that. No, it'll have to be that. I'll sort it out anyway. We need that bit out of there, into there, and then we can start coring then. It is 110 volt as well, so we're nice and safe. Does anybody else really hate coring? Because I do. I've still got to make this good. I'll probably get away with just 2 bricks on this, that one and that one. That one will be covered by the flue collar anyway, and I'll just make good where the old thing was screwed. But yeah, get through the brick, the block will not be a problem. I'm nearly there, to be fair. This thing flies through. Proper core drill. Right, that's through the brick. We're looking pretty much bang on centre of where we needed to be. Probably a little bit low, but we've got a little bit of play on the actual sides of the hole. So I didn't want to hit the cove in, so I erred on the side of caution a bit. But yeah, we'll just core the block out, and then Harry's doing all the boiler hanging, and we should be good. Bang in the middle, look. You don't very often get that. Perfect. So yeah, we should be good to get that flue through now. I've gone for the 750 one, so we'll have to cut that down. It's just because the boiler was a little bit off the wall, but yeah, it's better to be a bit long than a bit short. So while I've been coring that, Harry's got the bracket on the wall and got these tiles off. It is being all renewed in here. Cut myself there, look. Ow. We're all right. And obviously that's the flue hole going through. Hopefully we can just get the collar on there as well. But we really needed the boiler that high, because it's going to go inside the cupboard. That one is. We'll live. Harry's just lifted the boiler on the wall. Obviously return will go straight in with the magnetic filter. You should be able to get the top off that as well. Flow will just have to bring across, clean that pipe up, solder on there, and you have to use compression onto the boiler. Obviously flue straight out, and then we've just got the condense and the gas to sort. But obviously we've got the securing bracket to put on at the top yet. We can still get in to make this good as well. Not an issue at all on that one. So yeah, Harry's going to do all the pipe work. Should be easy enough. When I said primary earlier, it actually means pump flow and pump return. Years ago, you could have got probably a model with another 2 tap-ins, and then you'd have had gravity flow and return as well. So this boiler is probably around 23 years old, possibly a bit older. So yeah, that's definitely the return. That's definitely the flow. I'm pleased I went for the long flue kit, because I've only got that much left of it spare. Obviously not spare, rubbish, but yeah, all that cut, we just got to get, I'll feed that through to Harry, and then we'll put the 2 securing screws inside on the elbow. That should be fine. These have actually got a built-in fall on these Baxi flues. You can see it starts, well, it ends higher than it starts, but yeah, that'll be fine. Whereas like the Worcester ones, you have to put it through with a fall. I always like to put these in a little bit of a fall anyway, but it'll be fine. Right, that's all the pipework done above and the flue in. We just need to get that flue a bit of a wipe off. We just managed to get the collar below, but we obviously need to plaster that up and the hole on the inside, and then the outside we just need to brick up. So gas pipe next. We're going to chop it in there. We're going to lose that and the condense behind the wall. Obviously we've got to be a little bit careful of that cable coming up, but if we hit it, we can rewire it back into the programmer anyway. It's not the end of the world. It is dead. Obviously there's potentially other cables coming down here as well, so we'll have a little bit more, which we'll see if we can get on this gas pipe. I've done quite a few down the street, and I've always had the right working pressure at the boiler. I think they're 22 underneath, and then it must go across 15 to the hob, which is in the kitchen, because it's 22 where it leaves the boiler. But we'll do our working pressure test and everything, make sure we've got no more than 1 millibar drop across the installation. We've got obviously a 22 gas connection, and then the condense is there on these. So we'll get this bit done next. Condense is going to come down and then into this washing machine waste. We just have to pull the fridge and the washing machine out. We should be able to find the waste pipe. Right, the light's gone really funny now, it's just the time of the day, but I've chopped that condense in. Hopefully we should be able to get behind them cables and just shove that down, and then we'll just make good the tiles, but they are having it all renewed anyway. So yeah, I'll try and get down there behind this fridge, and then we'll see where the waste is. That's our pipe coming out below. We'll patch this up, and then we'll patch that up at the top as well, but at least it hides all that. Harry's just ran the condense in there. We've just used I think it's the GK1 McAlpine clamp. All this is being altered anyway because the washing machine is going under the boiler, so eventually in the next few weeks that's all being moved across, but just for the time being that's how we've done it. And we're just changing that programmer on the boiler as well. So we're just getting the magnet cleanse bolted on now. Valves are turned off, the heating is full. Obviously with these magnet cleanse, you've probably seen them before, you can take your filter off and the attachments go straight on. And then obviously you get all your different ones. That one fits the Worcester filter. I think they fit the original magnet cleanse. I'm not 100% sure. And then Harry's just setting the unit up. So you got obviously hoses in, and then it goes through the magnets. And then we'll go around and I'll just check the radiators. I don't think this system's massively dirty, but it still needs doing. I'm just bleeding these magnets through. I'm just going to check the operation of the programmer before I get everything put back. That's just temporary. I just want to make sure it all ran. I might have it wired up wrong, to be fair. On these old programmers, they've used it as like a, well, there's all sorts of cables in there, spaghetti junction, and electrics is not my strong point. So I just want to make sure this runs, and then I'll get everything tidied back up. While the system's flushing out, we're going to do the brickwork. We've got some matching bricks, so we're just going to do them too, and then we'll just knock them plugs in. I think it'll be fine. So Harry's actually going to do these. He's got them all chopped out, and then we'll just bed them in. Should be fine. And obviously we'll seal around the flue with some sand and cement as well. Obviously that needs doing. But yeah, while it's flushing out, it's a good time to do the brickwork. Right, I've grouted these tiles back in. They are being changed in a couple of weeks anyway. Got some grout on there. I've just had to silicon around the programmer because obviously the new programmer is smaller, but again I'm not too concerned because it's all being changed. Sometimes you can only do your best. I just thought it was better than leaving a hole. They did say just leave it, but you know, you're only as good as your last job. So we've just got making good to do around them. Apparently this is having a tool cupboard all the way through, so in theory I could have put the condense on the surface. Check gas inlet pressure, just got the flues to put in the screws, patch it around there. It's been cleaning out. Harry's done the brickwork, so we see what he's done. Yeah, not too bad, it looks alright. We'll just have to point that up in a second. And yeah, we're getting there on this one. See, I'm going to go through all the safety checks with Harry, gas rate, inlet pressures and stuff like that, but other than that we're getting there. Right, I need to check inlet pressure with other appliances working, and obviously we need to make sure we've not got more than 1 millibar drop. 1 millibar drop between the meter and the appliance, with the appliance set on max. So in the minute that's just standing pressure, and the boiler's not fired yet, I don't think. It's actually not. We could do it on my digital one, to be fair. And we've got 23 top, 23 bottom. This thing here keeps moving. Probably not the best for testing with, really, is it? But you can get a medium. I can get my digital one out in a second when they get my analyzer in. Pop it on there. I need to tighten the screw for the back, and then we'll stick the boiler in high fire. That's boiler in high. These are really quiet, these boilers. And look, we've got 21 millibar there. It probably means the governor's not quite set on the meter. We'll check that. But yeah, I've got no issues. I'm sure these are fine. I'm sure it's 22, and then wherever it comes, it's just 15 on the last bit. Let's say, being only a 16 kilowatt boiler, we do need to check the meter, see what that's set. Probably a touch high. And then apart from that, Harry's been making good around the flues. And yeah, we're pretty much there. Right, that's job done on this one. We've done our best to make everything neat and tidy. Obviously you can get the filter off, flues all screwed, changed the program, we've done the room thermostat as well. And yeah, should be all done. Just got to pop a bit of lagging on the pipe, you know, how we're supposed to. So yeah, all this is going in a cupboard anyway. Tiles are all being changed, so I'm not too bothered that I've silicon around the programmer. All this is being changed, but at least, you know, there's no condense pipe or anything running down. So I think the actual cupboard's floor to worktop anyway. I think, I'm not sure. But anyway, even if it's not, they should be able to get that in a cupboard. So yeah, done my best. That's all you can ever do. I always forget these as well. So obviously when you do a gas poly now, you've got to put CR alarm on. I am going to fix that to the wall, but this one does come with a stand as well. So they're handy. Right, I've just called back on the heating system that we did in the last video. The lads fitted all the boiler yesterday. They made a very nice job of that. We found the gas 22. Just took the back out of that unit and it's 22 underneath there. So we got lucky. I think it must run around 15 up to the hob and then 22 around to the boiler. It's just 15 through the worktop. So we've upgraded that to 22. I still need to test it. They did flush all the pipework out with the power flush machine before we connected onto the boiler, because this system was horrendous. What's the water looking like? Still 1 or 2 bits floating around in the hose, to be fair. But I've just put with the Magna Cleanse on to catch any final debris. It doesn't take 2 minutes while we're commissioning the boiler. I've still got to put all the floors and everything back down anyway. So what's the water looking like? A lot cleaner than it was, I can tell you. So just fill this up, then we can fire the boiler up. Still got to swap that CR alarm as well. We're required to put one on, but yeah, they've made a pretty decent job. Condense, I've just got to finish the condense off as well, because they didn't quite get it connected in. They put the T in and the reducer, and I've still got to sand and cement the flue up. They're at college today, so I'm just finishing all the bits off. Yeah, that's full, so we can probably strike the boiler up, and then we'll see how good a job they did at flushing. Bit of air in it. But yeah, we'll go around, balance all the system, we'll go around with the thermal camera. I keep meaning to fix that. Go around with the thermal camera. I've got a drip at the top. It might just be when I took the thing off. Yeah, you can see the water looks a lot cleaner than it was. But yeah, we'll get it all cleaned out. I'm going to put some inhibitor in there in a second as well, once we know it's clean, and we'll get this one all sorted. We didn't do them 2 pipes at the side, we only did the condense and the gas. We've just got a little bit of making good to do. It's new CR alarm, put all the floors back down, we've got all the heating done, have a good tidy up, and I need to have a look at that gas fire as well. It might end up being capped off, looking at the state of that. I've not actually been asked to look at the gas fire, but obviously we've got a duty of care to, obviously, if things aren't quite right, it doesn't take me, well, it takes me a little bit of time obviously to service it, but we need to just make sure everything's safe. Looking at the debris and that's dropped down, it might not have been serviced in a while, but if in doubt, we'll err on the side of caution with gas fires. So yeah, it's just a case of putting all floors back down, having a good tidy up, and that's this one all sorted. I have got this programming to change as well. I didn't want the lads to do it just because they're not confident in wiring, but I will just swap that programmer out. That'll be easy enough. But I've just fired it up for the time being. You know what it's like when you're busy, just to get everything tested. But I'm going to pop a new one on there. The cover is broke. It should be a fairly easy job, that. I'll do that bit in a minute. They've asked me to have a look at the stop tap on this one. I reckon the stop tap's really stiff, and the dishwasher valve isn't shutting off properly. Obviously they've taken the, let's have a quick look at that actually, taken the dishwasher out, and they reckon the valve won't turning off. So we'll probably swap that out as well. Right, I've been at this a while now. I'm still not happy with the colour of the water in this system. What I've been doing is I've been agitating the radiators, I've been draining them down to try and get all the rubbish out of them. We did connect a mains hose onto the flow and wash it out through the return, and we did agitate the radiators as well. But it's horrendous. I mean, the rads are all getting hot now, but there are still some cold spots in the bottom. I mean, it's a massive, massive improvement on what it was. I can't wait to actually see what's inside their magnets. Honestly, this system has been one of the worst I've ever seen, but at the end of the day, if you don't get the water quality right, the boiler's not going to last 2 minutes. So it's okay putting a new boiler in, but if it isn't right, it isn't right. See, I just drained a bit off. It has been getting cleaner. It has been getting cleaner, but you can still see that's black. It's not as bad as it was, but every time I agitate the radiators, I get a little bit more. So this is the last one I've been doing, and it is getting hot all the way through now, which is good. So we are getting there, we are making progress. Yeah, it just goes to show you can spend longer cleaning stuff out
then you can actually do it, you know, replacing all the pipework. But no wonder the old poor microboard didn't work very well, because these are horrendous. So what's on the magnets? That's the first one. Second one. So there's a fair bit on there. I've been working at that for probably over 6 hours. Agitating the radiators one at a time. We did actually do a mains flush on this yesterday as well, but it just goes to show you don't catch everything straight away. As soon as you put the hoses on, you can see little bits floating around. But what I might do is come back tomorrow and just check the filter. It's an empty house at the minute, so I can come back tomorrow, check the micro filter and see if it's picked any more up. I'll make sure it's got a good inhibitor levels, and we'll do the checks. But one of the worst systems I've seen in a while. But yeah, that's what it's picked up. Get them clean off, and yeah, start to get tidied up. Freshly calibrated and ready to go. I sent mine to Plumb Centre and they do the calibration. I'm not sure where they're going, but seem to do a pretty good service. They're not too expensive. It goes to Croncon. I don't know who they are, but I can't remember how much they are. Does it say? It's another expense that the customers don't see. I think it just needed a check up. It doesn't say on there, but it passed anyway. It didn't need anything doing, which is good. So we'll get this boiler all set up, or checked anyway. We should be good for another year with that one. So just check high and low readings. If you didn't know how to do them, you just press and hold it once, I think it's low fire, and then twice is high fire. You'll hear the boiler ramp up anyway. It's like that. So the boiler ramps up, and we just need to check readings. I need to do a gas rate and an inlet pressure, and we should be good to go. Check the readings. That's way up for the second, isn't it? It's probably struck it up with the analyzer with the thing in. It's coming back down to normal. We'll check it anyway, make sure it's all good. Going on about calibration stuff, my RPZ valve tester, they won't post it this year, so I had to take it to them. Luckily it was only like an hour away, but because it's such an expensive piece of equipment, they wouldn't insure it. Every other year I've just posted it. It's like 90 quid to get it calibrated, I think 80-90 quid, and they just send it back. But this year they won't post it. I need to do more RPZ stuff really. Obviously I've got all the equipment and that. I don't really advertise it. The only reason I did the course was because there was a place that I look after had got three valves tested. I didn't want anybody else getting in, sort of, you know, muscling on my patch, so to speak. But yeah, that's why I did the course. Quite interesting actually. But yeah, I need to do more RPZ valve stuff. It's not difficult, and firms seem to charge an absolute fortune for the privilege. But I guess it's because the equipment's expensive, and obviously the course and that. But yeah, I'd like to. I might see. I've got myself on my waterboard's website now for the RPZ valve stuff. Because last time when I sent the certificate through, obviously it's notifiable, so the waterboard have to like check it. I'm surprised they've not actually been out and inspected me yet. That'll be the next thing. But they said, oh, we can put you on the website. For some reason they've never done it. I've always sent my certificates to them, and they never sort of said. And then they wanted my calibration certificate for my tester. So yeah, now they've put me on the website. So yeah, I might pick up a little bit more. There's not the amount that you like sort of see on commercial sites that aren't actually tested. I don't know whether people don't realise you're not supposed to have them tested or whatnot, or whether they don't care. But yeah, I probably ought to like try and see if I can do a bit more on them, because they are interesting. Yeah, I've done my best with these, considering not one radiator worked. The actual sludge that I've got out of this system, the boiler might have actually gone off, which is not helping actually, looking at that. But yeah, yeah, the sludge that I've got out of this system, what I'm going to do is pop back in the morning and check the filter on the boiler, and I might, because it's an empty house, I might just bolt my magnet lens on it again and just run through it again, because I don't want that boiler getting sludged up. But yeah, it's been a busy day really. It's taken a bit longer than I thought. You can't see that. You can now. But yeah, that's probably the worst one actually. All the rest of them seem a lot better, but yeah, some jobs you can only do your best. Upstairs are a lot better than downstairs actually. There was a lot less sludge in them. But yeah, I've been around with the camera, checked them all, and as I say, I'll probably pop back in the morning just to check the filter.